Hello, welcome back to the channel. Have you noticed, guys? I'm uploading regularly. Yeah, I started this series on the Book of Job. It's a book that I'm reading from the Bible at the moment, and I felt called to share it with you guys and share what I've been learning and reading in the Book of Job. Yeah, a little recap on episode 1 if you guys did not watch it and you're watching this one. God describes Job as a blameless, upright, God-fearing man. He's always shunning out evil. And then we go into the council. Satan wants to trial Job, see how loyal he is to the Lord. And yeah, the Lord allows him to trial him to a certain extent. So Job loses his family and everything he owns. His health gets attacked. Something that he says is that the Lord has taken, the Lord has given, and the Lord has taken away. And it's something so beautiful and powerful, because Job, even at that moment when he had lost everything, he was still worshiping the Lord. He's still praising the Lord. And that's so beautiful. And then he also said later on, when his wife told him to basically curse God and die, he told her, shall we only receive the good and not the bad? And as I mentioned in the previous video, yeah, we need to receive the bad, because we will never learn how to be grateful for the bad times if we only receive good. It's like a kid, you know. If you always give a kid what he wants, in that moment where you don't give him what he wants, he'll never learn how to accept that, because he's always getting what he wants, right? And yeah, so that's what happened in episode 1. And now we're in episode 3. Remember, or if you weren't there, if you didn't watch the video, Job's friends had joined him. They've been sitting with him in silence for 7 days, and now we're in chapter 3. And yeah, let's get into the video. Have you ever been so low that you didn't have the words to describe it? That's where we find Job today. In chapter 3, he finally speaks, and what comes out isn't a sermon or a prayer. It's raw pain. He curses the day he was born, not because he's ungrateful, but because everything around him has collapsed. Yeah, like, who wouldn't collapse in those moments where everything seems to be going wrong? In fact, in chapter 3, verse 11, it says, "Why did I not die at birth, come forth from the womb, and expire?" This man isn't just in pain. It's a man trying to find a meaning in the ashes. And to be honest, sometimes we're afraid to admit when we feel the same way. And it's so true. When I was going through my struggles, I was afraid, and I didn't want to admit that I was going through these times in my family. I was trying to find meaning in different ways and places. And yeah, and up until I gave my life to Christ, then that's when I started being more open about my feelings and how I'm doing. But let's get back to the story. But then his friends show up. Eliphaz is the first to speak, and at first it sounds wise. He talks about God and God's justice and how he corrects those who he loves. But then he says something that stings. He basically says, "Job, you must have done something you must have brought this on yourself," basically. And that's not what Job needed to hear at that point. Because, yeah, if you're going through your roughest moments, you don't expect to hear your friend to say, basically, this is all your fault. If anything, you brought this on yourself. Chapter 4, verse 7 through 8, he says, think now who that was innocent ever perished, or where were the upright cut off? And as I've seen those who plow iniquity and sow trouble reap the same. In this part, he's just telling Job that he must have done something wrong, that he deserves the things that have happened to him losing his family, him losing his just everything he owns. And Job did not appreciate it. You know, it's the kind of thing people say when they don't know what to say, when they're uncomfortable with your pain. But Job doesn't hold back. He tells them how he really feels. And he says, don't I have a right to cry out? And yeah, like, I've been there where people didn't understand what I was going through. And I didn't appreciate it because I wanted to be understood. My pain, everything that I was going through, I felt like I was not understood. And up until I found Jesus, I never felt understood. But when I found Jesus, when I found salvation in him, I finally found someone who understood me, who understood my pain, who understood everything I was going through. And yeah, that's so true what he was saying there. Chapter 6, verse 26, he says, do you think that you can reprove words as if speech of the desperate were wind? Sometimes we just need someone to sit with us, not fix us, not preach at us, just be there. And it's true. Sometimes we just need just someone to put their arm around us and just sit there with us in silence, and that's when we feel, the love. Yeah, I'm thinking about just the times I felt so alone, and I basically just wanted someone to sit with me and really dive deep into how I was feeling. Just put their arm around me and just give me a great big hug. Especially at the start of the year when I was going through all my stuff, when I was going through everything. I felt like I was losing everything. And I've talked about this in the previous video and previous videos as well. I really felt like my world was about to end because I was losing control over every little thing in my life. And yeah, I didn't like it because I've already had gone through a lot in the past few years, and it was just adding on, and I was really, really low, and I just wanted someone to be there for me. And as soon as I gave my life to Christ, that's when I felt the peace that I was asking for, the person to hold me, the person to basically take away my problems. And yeah, when I gave myself to Christ, that's when I felt his presence. That's when I felt someone sitting beside me, putting their arm around me and telling me that you're going to be okay. Your problems, they'll no longer be yours, but they'll be mine. And ever since then, I've felt the happiest I've ever been. And yeah, let's get back to the story. And now we're about in chapter 7. Bildad and Zophar come, and they're both trying to defend God's justice by tearing down Job's character. They say, if you were pure, maybe God would restore you. And yeah, I don't know how I would feel about that, especially because Job feels and understands that he didn't deserve what he was going through. Everything that has happened to him, he didn't deserve. And obviously his friends don't know what God had said about him, and Job doesn't either. But yeah, God described this guy as a blameless man. In fact, he only accepted these trials just to see if he was actually loyal to and to see if he would curse his name, to see if Satan was right, that he was just doing it for the benefit of the Lord. So remember, he didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve this at all. He even says, even if I were innocent, my mouth would condemn me. He's not just saying he's sinless, but he knows he didn't deserve this. Basically what I just said. And yeah, he even cries out to God, not just about God. Yeah, even in confusion, Job holds on. Even when God feels silent, he's still talking to him. And maybe that's the point. This is the part of Job's journey that reminds us that God can handle our hardest questions, our confusion, our lament. He doesn't need us to be polished. He just wants us to be real. God knows what we're going to pray for. God knows what we're going to talk to him about. Even before we even talk, he already knows us. He just wants us to be truthful with him. He wants us to be vulnerable with him. Yeah. So if you're going through it and all you got is broken words, give them to him anyway. Give them to him anyway. Yeah, that's where we'll end the episode today. Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for the support. Especially in this last video. I just want to thank you for choosing to watch this, and choosing to engage in this time. If you feel moved, if you feel moved to talk to God, I suggest you do so. Pray to him. Pray to him. Yeah. That's all I'll say for this video. Thank you for watching again. I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.